step into the shadows of history, where the line between legend and reality blurs. The city of Jerusalem pulses with life, incense swirling in the air, the clang of hammers forging destiny, and a sense of awe that crackles like a coming storm. This is the world of King Solomon, a man whose wisdom was said to rival the gods, whose power dazzled the world, and whose fate would become a cautionary tale whispered for centuries.
I can still feel the golden light of those days. I am Naamah, one of Solomon's wives. The palace glittered like a dream, and my husband's wisdom drew the mighty and the humble alike. Queens crossed deserts, kings braved perilous roads, all to witness the mind of Solomon, each encounter a spark in the legend that grew around him.
Solomon, son of David and Bathsheba, was no ordinary king. His name was spoken in hushed tones from Egypt to Sheba. His judgments were so profound, so piercing, that even the Queen of Sheba herself journeyed through dust and danger, desperate to see if the rumors were true.
I watched him build the temple, his prayers rising with the smoke, his eyes fixed on heaven. He asked for wisdom, not riches, and for a time, the city sang with hope. Laughter and music spilled from every corner, and it felt as if a golden age had dawned.
Under Solomon's rule, Israel became a beacon. Borders stretched, cities blossomed, and peace reigned. His name was a promise of justice, of creativity, of a devotion so deep it seemed unbreakable. Imagine the throngs, merchants, travelers, the curious and the desperate, crowding the city's gates, all straining to hear the king whose wisdom was said to be a gift from the heavens. The air buzzed with anticipation, every word he spoke a treasure.
But even as the world celebrated, I saw a shadow flicker across Solomon's face. The crown grew heavier, the nights longer. His heart, once ablaze with devotion, began to flicker and fade.
And then the golden glow began to dim. The king who once knelt in humility now seemed restless, distracted. The seeds of his downfall were sown in silence, growing in the dark corners of his heart. Solomon's weakness was as old as time, desire. He was drawn to foreign women, their beauty and mystery, their cultures and gods. Each alliance was a thread in a web, binding him tighter, pulling him further from the faith that once defined him.
We were countless, wives and concubines from every corner of the earth. Each of us brought our own gods, our own secrets, our own hunger for love. The palace became a labyrinth of longing and rivalry, and Solomon's heart was torn in 1,000 directions. 700 wives, 300 concubines, 1,000 voices, 1,000 desires. I often wondered if any of us truly knew him, or if he even knew himself anymore.
The Bible doesn't exaggerate. Solomon's heart was pulled in 1,000 directions. Imagine the pressure, the endless demands, the temptation to please everyone and lose yourself in the process. These marriages weren't just affairs of the heart, they were open doors. Foreign gods crept into Jerusalem, their idols gleaming in the sun. The city that once echoed with prayers to the God of Israel now trembled with the footsteps of strange rituals. The king who built God's temple now built shrines for idols.
I remember the day the new altars rose, smoke curling into the sky, the city holding its breath. Some of us wept, others cheered. But the city was changed, and so was Solomon. The God of Israel was no longer alone in Jerusalem.
Solomon, the builder of the temple, now built altars to Chemosh and Molech, gods of fire and blood. These were not harmless statues, but symbols of a betrayal that cut to the heart of everything he once believed. He broke the very commandments that had set Israel apart. The laws that guided his father David were cast aside. The wisest man in the world was now making choices that would haunt generations.
The palace grew cold. Whispers of rebellion slithered through the halls. I saw Solomon kneel, his face twisted in anguish, torn between the God of his fathers and the gods of his wives.
Did God strike Solomon down? No. But the skies over Jerusalem darkened, and a sense of doom settled over the city. God's anger was real, but his response was deliberate, a warning, not a lightning bolt. A prophet appeared, his words like thunder. "Because you have turned away, I will tear the kingdom from you." The message was a blade, cutting through the silence, a judgment that would echo through the ages.
Yet for David's sake, God showed mercy. The punishment would not fall on Solomon, but on his son. I saw the sorrow in Solomon's eyes as he gazed at his father's portrait, the weight of regret crushing him.
Out of respect for David, God delayed the disaster. The kingdom would not shatter in Solomon's lifetime, but the storm was coming. The shadow of judgment loomed over his legacy. Solomon died an old man, surrounded by gold and grandeur, but as his eyes closed, the kingdom he built began to crack. The unity he forged was shattered in a heartbeat.
I watched Rehoboam, his son, struggle to hold the pieces together. The palace that once rang with music now echoed with the sounds of division and despair.
Rehoboam lost almost everything. The mighty nation split, Israel to the north, Judah to the south, civil war, rebellion, chaos. The golden age was gone, replaced by darkness and strife. Why did Solomon fall? It wasn't a single shattering moment, it was a slow, silent unraveling, a gradual surrender of conviction, like sand slipping through his fingers until nothing was left.
Watching him was like watching a ship drift from shore, the distance growing with every gentle wave. Solomon's heart, once anchored, was swept away by compromise and longing.
It was a slow drift, one small compromise, one quiet rationalization at a time. The change was almost invisible until suddenly he was lost at sea, far from where he began. The destination? Disaster. That's the warning. No one, not even the wisest, is safe from the slow poison of compromise. Wisdom alone is not enough. It takes humility, vigilance, and the courage to turn back before it's too late. Solomon's story is a haunting reminder. Even the greatest can fall.
Remember this: stay curious, stay humble, and above all, stay close to God. Let Solomon's rise and fall burn in your memory. Every day you have a choice: faithfulness or compromise, wisdom or pride. The story isn't just his, it's ours.
If this story moved you, like, subscribe, share, and comment. Let the lessons of Solomon echo in your heart. Amen.